Today, we're talking to Ivan. He's 25 years old, he lives in Vancouver, and he is an actor, a public speaker, a content creator, and a criminology specialist. Yes, he's 25.
I actually got a job with the RCMP, which is the police force here in Vancouver. I don't think I would also be here if it wasn't for her. I lack consistency, and not to say that the rest of my life is consistent, but that's been something that's very hard for me.
All right, Ivan, so how was life after high school?
I don't think I would have been able to predict in grade 12 that I would be where I am today. It's definitely been a bit of a ride. I've gone through a lot of different opportunities, positions, jobs, education. But I think I'm finally following that kind of creative path of freedom that I always wanted to. And in that sense, I could not be happier.
Yeah, and the idea that you had before you finished high school to what it actually was, what was the differences?
I guess kind of taking it back to a little bit of my childhood. I'm from Ukraine originally. I was born and raised in Kharkiv, which is a pretty big city in Ukraine. And my parents are obviously quite traditional in their ways. My mother has a master's degree. My stepfather, he was a surgeon, so very highly educated people. So their goal for me in life was always to pursue a degree, hopefully higher than a bachelor's, go for a master's or a PhD in whatever it is I wanted to do, and then obviously hold your standard 9-to-5 job, but be successful and have money and have the standard family. I thought I wanted that, I really did, but as I got older, I realized there was more of me trying to live out my parents' dreams for me rather than following my own.
Yeah, of course.
So after high school, I graduated. Of course, I had good grades. I didn't have an option not to with my mom. I got into SFU on a scholarship. I was studying criminology with a minor in sociology. And I thought that was going to be my life. I thought I was going to become a lawyer. But obviously, sitting here talking to you, I'm not a lawyer. I've taken a very different path of my life. And I don't even really know how to summarize what I do into one job other than I work in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, we'll talk more in details about what you're doing right now, because it is quite interesting what you're doing. But you said you didn't go into the career that your mom wanted you to go. How did you manage that for your mom, or how did your mom manage that? Did she trust you?
You know what? It was a learning curve for her, definitely. I think that deep down, even throughout university, she knew that I had doubts and that I wanted to explore and do other things. But I think what really kind of made it sink in for her is she was there on my graduation day. And I had got my diploma. On my diploma, it said, Bachelor of Criminology, minor in Sociology. I had my co-op certificate for working in the field. And I think it was the Presidential or Dean's Honor Award, which basically means you made it into like the top 5% of students with the highest GPA. And I handed the diploma to my mom, and she's looking at it, obviously feeling very proud of myself. And at that time I was like, hey mom, just so you know, I'm gonna be an actor. So I think it hit her pretty hard right about that.
I'm sure. She, yeah, okay. And she was probably, after you showed her this certificate of the top 5%, she probably was like, okay, he proved himself a little bit already. Now he can breathe a bit and do what he really likes. Was that the thought?
My mom's feelings about my career, I think, have been quite mixed pretty much all the way through my upbringing. She always wanted something a bit more educational for me. I don't think right off the bat she was nearly as supportive as most people would want their parent to be. But I don't blame her. It was, she struggled a lot. She brought me over to this country with the hopes of me having a very bright future and going very far. So I'm not surprised that,
of course,
when I wasn't pursuing her standards of that, it was upsetting. I don't blame her for that. So at first, no, she wasn't nearly as supportive as she is nowadays, me having come as kind of as far as I have and doing all the things that I am. But, I don't blame her. Ukrainian moms, Eastern European parents, they're very tough on their kids. And 100%. I'm actually surprised as to how much she let me do compared to what other Eastern European moms would have probably done with their kids.
Yeah, it probably was a lot of sacrifice for her moving across the globe, and probably a lot of money into it. And it's for sure she wants her kid to succeed in life. So that's for sure. It's you have this kind of pressure on your shoulders. But I'm guessing if you were capable anyways, pressure is one thing, but if you're not capable, it's not going to go anywhere. And so after when you graduated and you started doing acting or content creation, what was your first? How did you enter this field? What kind of jobs did you take on first?
First of all, to anyone watching who is in this industry, they know it's not an easy field to get into by any means. There really is no way of just submitting an application and getting in. I actually started back in high school when I was doing background for film and television, so doing various background for TV shows, movies. I was on Riverdale a lot as a background actor. I think I really fit that high school look. But I did other shows like Arrow, I think it was Supergirl, and oh my God, anything that's pretty much CW around here. That kind of ignited the passion in the sense that I could actually do it. And my first ever real film role was an audition off Craigslist for a short film about drug overdose. And I pretty much emailed the guy and I was like, look, I don't have a resume. I don't have a reel. I just want you to give me a chance and let me audition. Send me whatever script you want. I will record a self-tape, which pretty much consisted of me propping up a phone on a bookshelf because I didn't even have a tripod back then. And just let me show you what I can do. I did, and I got the role, and he gave me the chance, and I was in this 3-minute short film, and I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And that kind of just lit a fire and pretty much got me addicted to wanting to be on the screen. Wow. And ever since then, I just relentlessly submitting, getting any role that I can, building a reel, building a resume, building a portfolio, and doing pretty much anything I can to get in front of the screen at the same time as taking classes in any way that I can to better my craft. Mm-hmm.
So you didn't really practice until you got that role. You kind of had it in you, and obviously the passion was there.
Yes. And so that was happening during university. That wasn't after. That was while I was still in university, while I was still doing criminology. I was just kind of doing this on the side with the limited time that I had left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. If you're studying what you studied, it's probably a lot of time to dedicate to a side passion. And so after this short, you kind of had this, like you said, the fire. And so you started to go into acting school. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, so funny enough, SFU was giving me a scholarship, and because it was a full ride scholarship, I also got paid to take electives. And so I realized, okay, well, what can I do with this? And I actually ended up taking a couple of electives at Simon Fraser University that were acting related. Outside of that, I also started going to an online acting school, and oh my God, the coach, his name is Vas Saranga, at the Online Actor, probably was the guy who actually made me believe in myself that I could pursue this and do something with it and make it a career. So any actors watching this, the Online Actor, Vas is an amazing coach, and yeah, I owe a lot to him because of where I am today.
Yeah, that's a good professor. If he saw the potential and he motivated you, I think that's the professor role. And so and how long did you do that for?
So that was probably just for over 2 years. I think I started kind of closer to my last year in university, and then I continued for almost 2 years after graduation. And then from that point on, I kind of took different workshops on and off with various acting schools here locally in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. And throughout the 2 years, did you also do many other shorts or films or movies or things like that?
I did a few. It was really challenging though. I actually did auditions, got the part, and a lot of times and they ended up having to say no because I had either exam schedules or assignments or stuff that I just couldn't really give up on. Mm-hmm. So it was a very frustrating time for me because I felt like I was getting some traction and there was movement in my career, but I couldn't say yes to everything. Yeah. And at the same time, I also felt like I couldn't get an agent because my availability was so spotty that no agency would pick me up because, again, I'm not available 7 days a week to go out for auditions and do anything else. Mm-hmm.
And now, do you have an agency now?
I do, yes.
Aha. And so did that skyrocket the amount of interviews that you were getting?
It definitely helped. I think that I got in with an agent at kind of an inopportune time. I think it was pretty much just after COVID and right before the actor strike happened.
Oh, there was an actor strike, okay.
There was, yeah, there was an actors and writers strike, and that kind of all combined with getting an agent wasn't the best timing. And then my first agent that I got also, I'm not going to talk negatively. It just didn't work out between us. He got
possible.
me through some auditions right off the bat, and it felt good at first, but it just the relationship wasn't going in the right direction. But I'm not here to call anybody out or anything like that. I think it's the more respectful thing to do. I have switched agents since. I'm with Lucas Talent in Vancouver, and my agent is Deb and Kelly, and they're just the two most amazing people who have gotten me some crazy auditions, and they're the most understanding because of all the other jobs that I do.
Exactly.
Not a lot of agents would want to deal with that, with having
Absolutely.
an actor with that many responsibilities.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's good that they also believe in you because they probably see the talent and they want to continue with you. So that's great. And so now we can talk a bit more about what you do on the side, all the other jobs that probably came from your acting
Yeah,
experience.
so, okay, where do we start?
Yeah.
Let's start with something I don't do as much anymore, so I can't really talk too much about it, but during my time in university, I actually got a job with the RCMP, which is the police force here in Vancouver.
Yes, sir.
And so I actually, pretty much to this day, still come out of a civilian employee. So every once in a while, I'll have call shifts where I have to go into the office and work with the RCMP. Unfortunately, due to the nature of my contract, I can't say a whole lot more about it. But
That's fine.
not really the bulk of what I do anyway. It's kind of just something on the side. But they've been really good to me, and you know what? They really kickstarted my savings when I was in university, so I'm very thankful to them
good.
as an organization.
And you
But
kind of have your toes still on criminology and all that stuff that you studied so hard for.
I do. I enjoyed the degree. No negative things to say about my time at university. I learned a lot. I really enjoyed my degree. I learned so many cool things that I would have never learned outside of school. But again, not something I think I'm going to use too much in the future.
That's fine.
That being said, my creative endeavors kind of circle around content creation, marketing, and being a spokesperson. I work for a couple of brands right now where I create videos for them, mostly for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, that kind of thing. I'm also a spokesperson for a brand here that manufactures custom signage. So I'm basically the face of all their videos on TikTok, Instagram, social media.
All right.
I don't make them myself, but I'm in front of the camera. And the biggest one is I'm a product specialist for Ford. And what that means is I travel to various auto shows, and I basically represent the brand. I have to know everything about every car on display. Occasionally I have to get up on stage and do speeches to present the new models they have coming out and everything. And that has been a blessing. I love that job so much.
And how did you land that job then? Because it's probably not everybody, right? So how did you end up?
It's crazy. I auditioned for it on Backstage without even knowing what I was auditioning for.
Okay, they just wanted to see. They wanted a spokesperson or someone that's good in on camera.
It was super, super ambiguous. It was like automotive industry spokesperson. That's it.
Okay.
No concept of like what exactly it is, what it involved, and like that they would be traveling. None of that. Just spokesperson. And I sent a self-tape, and I remember they gave me a script, and it was supposed to be very hidden as to what car the script was about. But because of me and like my background and how much I love cars, I knew exactly what car they were talking about.
Okay.
So I did the whole script consistently name dropping the model of the vehicle that they wanted me to not say for the purposes of the audition.
Okay. They had a big surprise that they actually were interviewing a car guy.
Yes, yeah, I think they definitely kind of were not expecting me to have that level of knowledge coming into it, because not too many actors do, at least from the ones that I've met.
But it wasn't in the requirements of the job. Like they weren't looking for somebody that knows vehicle whatsoever.
No, not at all. They were more focused on somebody who's a very like capable public speaker, somebody who's not like super shy on stage, and somebody who can memorize information and just present it in a very professional manner.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. And when you got the job, did they try to make you study the car that you were gonna talk about, or just not at all? Just a script.
Funny enough, as soon as I got the job, I had pretty much 4 days. Then I had to fly down to Michigan, Detroit, to a town called Rochester, to go there for training. So it's a 4-day training where you actually sit down and go through like 8 hours of lectures a day about all of the vehicles.
Okay.
So they have a very formal training that I had to go to, but I really didn't have much time. They're like, look, you've got the gig if you want it, but you have to tell us right away because we have to book you plane tickets to go for training down in Detroit. at that point I was like, well, okay, well, I can't say no. So of course I said yes, and a week later I was doing my training in Detroit, learning about every Ford vehicle that they have on the lineup there.
And you probably had so much fun.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. I live and breathe cars, so, usually, as I say, and I tell these people at the auto show, I talk about cars a lot, and usually my girlfriend takes most of it, but she does tend to get annoyed sometimes. But being in an environment where me talking about cars is actually something to want to hear all the time, like that really makes me feel super good. I love it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, obviously, girlfriend. She probably is learning a lot about cars because of you. Just seeing it when you're in the car and you would just say, "Hey, that's this car. It costs this much. It has this much horsepower." Yeah. Me too. Same idea for me. And then they just become car experts without even.
I'll give her credit, man. She's incredible. She's memorized like so many of my favorite cars. She'll like point out cars on the street now as we're driving, and she'll be able to like see the make and model before I do sometimes.
Oh, really?
So like I'm super impressed with her knowledge and how far she's come. She's even like memorized naturally aspirated versus turbocharged engines. Like I'm very, very proud of her. But
That's for sure.
I talk about cars a lot, so I know she has a limit.
Yeah, no, of course. And what was the obviously that was new for you, being a spokesperson. What was the biggest challenge that you faced doing that?
I think, especially my first show, I felt like there was so much information, and while like I did know a certain bit about all the vehicles, I felt a lot of pressure because I'm not just talking to a camera where I can redo a take and film something new. I'm talking to people in a live setting. And what they always say, and the way that they train it is like, if you don't know something, just say you don't know. Don't like try to guess or give answers that aren't true. And I'm kind of a perfectionist myself, so for me, that's very hard. That's very hard not to know something and not being able to help somebody. So I think I spent like countless hours going through scripts, watching videos, memorizing just about everything that I could possibly get asked about these vehicles. And I think the surprise was pleasant because I realized that most people do not need to know the very much in-depth detailed specs and are just looking for things like, hey, what's the price of this vehicle? How many miles per gallon does it get? What trim levels do you guys offer? So it was a very pleasant surprise, but it was a very, very stressful experience going into this job because obviously I wanted to prove myself, but at the same time, it was just stressful in general having memorized that much all at once.
And so in a public, when you're speaking on the stage, how many people are you speaking in front of?
That really depends, depending on the size of the auto show.
Yeah.
I've only because I'm quite new at the company, I've only narrated at a smaller show. So At any point I could have between 15 to 20 people listening to me. But at some of the bigger shows, I've seen like 40 to 60 people crowd around a stage to look at a car. And sometimes on media day, that includes news reporters and press and cameras, and people are taking photos of you and all this stuff. So the numbers vary, and I would say media day and press days are a lot more stressful than just your average day.
Makes sense. And how long have you been doing that for?
This will be my second year.
Second year. How many shows did you do? Have you done already?
I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm headed out to my 7th or 8th show tomorrow.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think either 7 or 8.
That's exciting. That's it. And have you seen the progress of you at your first show to right now?
Definitely. I think I have kind of a nickname now. I'm pretty much nicknamed as the car guy. So whenever people who don't know something particular need to find out, a lot of times they come to me because I'll just know random trivia. I'm not good at every car. I've never been a truck guy myself, so I sometimes struggle with the trucks. But anything to do with the Broncos, the SUVs, the sport cars, like I feel like I have such an in-depth knowledge that people feel very comfortable coming to me and asking me about stuff, even though they've been on the team a lot longer than I have. I feel very comfortable where I'm at these days.
Lovely. And do you see yourself being a spokesperson for other brands, maybe car brands or other type of brands? Is that what you want to do?
You know what? As a side career, I absolutely would. I just love people, and I love being out there and being able to talk to them. I did get to work with VinFast during the summer, which is a...
Yeah.
Oh my God, are they... Yeah, they're an electric car brand. So I got to do a little bit of work with them. And I love being in the automotive industry. I'm very grateful to Ford, and they're always going to be my original bestie. But aside from that, I'm open to other stuff too.
Yes, so yeah, so you talked about, you just said that it's your side career kind of. What's the main thing that's taking most of your time, most of your energy right now?
You know what's funny is that while I label it as a side hustle, I think that is taking a lot more of my time. Acting is definitely what I want to be my primary thing, but I just, you don't, not quite yet making enough money and spending enough time to really call that a full-time career. I feel like all of my side hustles make up a lot more time than what I consider to be my main career, but the true kind of purpose that I'm chasing after is to make acting the main full-time thing.
The main full time, yeah, okay. And because you're doing so much, you're working for so many brands right now, right? So your week is really shared between making content for those brands and traveling for Ford, right? Is it? Yeah, yeah, no, that's for sure. Especially if you have so many projects on the go at one time, it makes it hard. And okay, and you said for the brands, do you have to travel as well for those brands?
It depends. A lot of the stuff that I've done outside of Ford has been local, so thankfully not too much traveling.
Okay, good.
I've gotten a couple opportunities to go to Alberta and stuff, but they just didn't really work out with my dates, so I've had to turn those down. But for the most part, Ford is the only gig that really lets me and allows me to travel.
Gotcha. And do you have a personal brand or account or business where you do content creation just for yourself, or no?
Honestly, that's something that I have wanted to start for a long, long time.
Yes, sir.
And I think this year is kind of the year for me, especially that like the camera I'm recording on right now is something that I've kind of bought myself as a bit of a present. I bought myself the gear. I have everything I need to go.
Yes, sir.
And I felt for a long time that I've been recording my voice and creating content for other people too much. And while I do want to do that, I feel like I could do so much more for myself as well. So that's definitely a bucket list item for me. Maybe not quite this year because we're almost going to December, but that is going to be at the top priority for my list of goals for the next year.
Right. Yeah, and which are you? What kind of are you? Had some thoughts about it of what you want to go into?
Absolutely.
For your personal?
I think it's kind of a combination of two niches. The first one being photography,
Yeah.
and the second one being kind of the automotive industry. And I want to kind of put those two together, and at the same time educate people about photography and what I do and how I do it and content creation as a whole, and then use the automotive industry as kind of the example. And the goal, like the kind of the end all, would be to get deals with automotive brands to do the reviews of their cars, or kind of just be present in the field and create content for vehicle brands, hopefully travel. I'd love to go and work for some exotic brands too. That would be the ideal kind of job opportunity to mix my two great passions together.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, me too. I was. It's cars are also a big passion, and make it a career of it would be amazing. So maybe we have the next Doug Murray here in front of us. Who knows?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. That would definitely be something high up on the goal list.
I can see you. I can see you do that full time for sure. Especially if you have obviously the connections at Ford and stuff. That would hopefully get you a little head start to your projects.
That would be ideal. They would be the perfect first client, especially since I'm already at the auto shows, already working for them.
Absolutely.
Why can't I film content for you guys too?
And you have exclusive things. Yeah, exclusive access too. So that would make it better. Yeah, and so doing all of this together, and you just mentioned you have a girlfriend at the same time, right? How do you find it hard to manage everything together? Your career, your side career, your content creation, your passion, girlfriend, traveling.
I think it has been better in the past year. I think starting out, I really was jumping into the unknown. I think the one thing in my life that I've never really worried too much about and that I know has always been so safe and secure is my relationship. This January, I would have been with my girlfriend for 8 years. So we've been together for a long time. I mean, we're talking high school sweethearts here. We literally met in grade 12, went to prom together, graduated university together, did everything together. I don't think I would also be here if it wasn't for her. She's probably my biggest support. She's been there through all the career changes, through all the side hustles. She's been the #1 fan for all the short films, everything that I've ever done. So yeah, wouldn't be here without her. It is hard to leave her sometimes. She does come to some of these shows, sometimes not. It is definitely hard to be apart, but we try to communicate as much as we can while we're apart. And, you know, despite I know the fact that she misses me, she's also very understanding and very supportive. And yeah, couldn't have asked for a better partner in all of this.
Absolutely, man. That's rare. That's rare to have going through the same with the same partner for during your 20s and doing so many things that you're doing, and also different things. Because people after high school, like you said, they change a lot. They discover themselves, and being adult is such a huge learning curve that people go into different directions. So the fact that you guys were able to grow individually differently but still stuck together is amazing. Can you tell us a secret?
You know what, my girlfriend would be mad at me if I didn't say communication, but I truly think that it's not. I think communication is very important, but I don't think it is the be-all, end-all. I think the most important thing and the secret to having like a really long-lasting relationship is understanding.
Yeah, tell us.
Whenever you're in an argument, whenever you're having a rough time, if anything is wrong, try to step outside of your own perspective and understand where that person is coming from. Try to understand why your significant other is upset, why they might feel the way that they feel. If you're able to understand the person that you're with, and this gets better over time, you're able to really be succinct with each other.
Of course, yeah.
Then a lot of the problems become very solvable. You're never not going to fight. That's not possible. That's not real. Everybody fights in every relationship. But truly trying to step into your partner's shoes and understand where they're coming from can really bring you guys together a lot quicker, resolve issues, and just kind of keep that friendship going for so much longer. Not to say communication is not important, but I think there are other things at play here.
It's a whole bundle. You can't have one without the other. And I want to develop a little bit more on this. Your throughout history, or your history with your partner, what, like, did you guys give each other space? How did you realize that this was the solution to overcome the fights? Like, was it intentional, or did you just learn with having fights, basically?
I think that it was definitely trial and error, especially because of how young we were when we started dating. I mean, we were like 17 years old, right? So I think in the beginning of our relationships, we really were kind of, I don't want to say like egotistic, but really we're kind of like, no, I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. We didn't really dive a whole lot further. And despite that, we still made it work. We still got past a lot of the fighting and everything that we did. I can't pinpoint like a pivotal moment when things changed, but I just feel like we reached a certain point where we would have disagreements and arguments about stupid things that really didn't matter, you know? And then at that point, I don't know who it was. If she retells a story, she'd probably say it was her. And you know what? I think I agree it was her. But she basically said, like, I don't understand you. And I think that kind of hit point. And I was like, well, you know what? I think that is our problem. I think like we're fighting because we don't understand where the other person is coming from. And kind of ever since then, we've tried to take a much more like objective approach, you know, kind of like explain why you're having the feelings that you're having. And one of the things we do, and this is all over social media, but it helps so much. Whenever somebody's feeling a certain type of way that's not right, always ask your partner, hey, do you want empathy or do you want advice? And I think that is so important, because I think that has gotten us through so many things, because sometimes people just want to be heard. They don't want a solution to their problems. And I'm sorry, I know us guys, we're always very solution oriented. Like the chill guy meme on TikTok that I've been diving into right now. First of all, very validating, but you know, sometimes you have to step back, not provide solutions, just listen, be there, and understand where the person's coming from, and that just helps you surpass just about anything.
Yeah, that's gold. What you said right here, especially in those moments where you know, maybe sadness or frustration is there. You want to give them the space, maybe listen to them first, and then maybe the next day, that's where they'll come to you and ask for advice, or you can go back into it and say, hey, we can do this now to make it better. And but yeah, what you're saying is perfect. And I think hearing, or just showing empathy in the moment is probably most of the time the best solution, and wait for everybody to calm down or have their the emotions settle down is probably the best course of action. And throughout the fights, is there a point where you guys really didn't talk to each other at all, and you kind of went separate ways and went back together, or the 8 years was really a flow?
You know what? Let me tell you this. I think this will put it into perspective.
Yes, please.
Tomorrow
please.
I'm leaving for 12 days. Well, 10-day show, 2 days of travel.
Mm-hmm.
In the past 8 years, this will be the longest time we have spent apart. Prior to this, the longest time we had ever spent apart was 7 days for family vacation.
That puts us in perspective.
Both of us hate the idea of not talking to each other, and we hate the idea of having some sort of argument hanging there in the air. Yeah, there's been times where we probably won't talk to each other, maybe half an hour to an hour, but we always come back together, talk, and resolve, because the idea of just being in the same space or just having something between us that isn't right is so much worse to us than just taking accountability, sitting down, having a conversation, and just figuring things out. Mm-hmm. So that's always been our approach. Starting when we were 17 years old to now. We've never had long extended periods of separation because of a fight.
Okay. Of course. I mean, sometimes people need their space and they need to step away. But yeah, of course, if coming back and talking things out after is usually the better solution. And you guys live together for a long time?
I think it's probably been just over a year or so that we've lived together. It hasn't been. It's not super recent. Mm-hmm. I moved in with her, and she's been awesome. We have this beautiful place.
Yeah.
We have a basement suite. I have a little studio. This is like where I'm at right now. So living together has been great, and I think it felt just such like a natural transition. We didn't have that cheesy TV moment. Hey, I think we should move in together.
It just happened.
I started spending more time here, and eventually I was just like, why don't I just move my stuff? She's like, yeah, that sounds good. And it
starts with
like no questions asked.
They start with a little toothbrush, and then you bring in your towel, your pillow, and then next thing you know, you have your food in the fridge and etc.
My backdrop, my tripods. Yeah, it all just slowly kind of went in, and then it just became.
It was just a slow moving in. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing that it can become natural, and I'm sure everything is going well since you have this much experience, and the fights now obviously are a bit more smooth, right? So that's good. And with everything around, I know you told me you exercise a little bit. How do you find time to exercise doing all of this?
It's honestly tough. I think that's the one thing that I really like. Okay, I lack consistency in, not to say that the rest of my life is consistent, but that's been something that's very hard for me. Whenever I go and whenever I travel, I work long days, so it's really hard to get up beforehand or go after. I find it to be very challenging to find the energy to do that. Whenever I'm at home, I always have crazy schedules, and I find that as soon as I fall out of a consistent routine of going to the gym or working out at home, I've got weights, I've got a bike here, it's so hard to get back on. I've tried to kind of like take the food aspect and try to work a bit more on that, which again has its good days, has its bad days, especially when I'm traveling. We don't really get big fridges. I can't do meal prep. I have to I'm at the mercy of what's around me to eat. So that is probably my biggest struggle right now. It's the inconsistency. When I find a routine, I'm able to go to the gym on a daily or every other day basis, no problem. But as soon as something wrecks that routine, like a gig or travel, I find it super difficult to get back into it.
Yeah, no, for sure, because you lose the train of things. And so you said you have a bike, but you go to the gym. And when you go to the gym, do you lift weights, or what kind of workout do you do?
I mainly lift weights because I feel like I can do cardio at home, or even just like if the weather's nice, especially during the summers. Me and my girlfriend like to go for like runs outside because we live in a nice neighborhood, so it's not a problem. So I feel like when I go to the gym, I focus a lot more on weights, but I do love a cool down cardio. I love biking, so I'll always hop on the bike for 10 or 15 minutes at the end of every session just to kind of cool down, and I like that as a way to finish the workout. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanna hopefully find a solution to have you more do that a bit more consistently. So you say when you're consistent, when you're able to be consistent, you go 3 or 4 times a week.
Probably be, yeah, 3 to 4 times a week, and that kind of varies on the week too.
It varies on the week, obviously. Okay, and
Yeah.
are you able to pinpoint? Tough question here, I know. Are you able to pinpoint what makes you unmotivated? Is it because you think you lost the progress that you've done? Is it the effort of going to the gym? Is it the fact that you just have you think you're not going anywhere because you're not consistent? Are you able to
I
pinpoint that?
definitely think it's the fact that I'm not going anywhere because I'm not consistent. I feel like I lose motivation because I'm like, well, I haven't gone to the gym for like 2 weeks. I've been away working. I haven't done anything. Maybe I've been eating not so great while I was away. And then I'm like, oh, and I have a bunch of other projects to focus on now that I've been away for 2 weeks. I got to catch up on my content. And then I feel like I get into the pattern of I got to finish everything. I got to rush, and I prioritize other things. And then like a week or 2 or 3 goes by, and I don't even think about it. It kind of like, but it's a constant thing of like I'm avoiding the thought. Not that I just genuinely forget. I just focus on other stuff, and it just kind of sends me into a spiral where I feel unmotivated. Because what's the point? Because I'm going to go to the next show in the next month. I'm going to not be able to work out for another 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll be back on the same thing. So what's the point? Like, why go back for like the next week or two?
I 100% understand.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, especially working out is, that makes total sense. And especially working out, like you can work out, I've been working out for 10 years, but I mean, if you stop you can work out for 3 years and be super consistent, and then you stop for 2 weeks, and then you lose most of what you gained. So workout and body, the body works out this way. Now, Ivan, let me know if that's impossible to do or not. But if you're able to set yourself up of like 2 days per week where it's non-negotiable, you do an hour of push-up, sit-ups, weightlifting, like small weight, because you have to be, when you travel, you can go to the gym. Is that doable?
I think 2 days for an hour is doable. I genuinely think that I can find time. It might be at like a ridiculous time, like after I'm done work at like 10:30 p.m. to 11:30, or super early in the morning before. But I think 2 days a week at an hour is definitely doable.
Yeah. So if we do this you're gonna find the days. I was gonna say every Tuesday and every Friday, just to kind of separate it enough.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, every Friday, you get yourself an hour of you do weightlifting and cardio. The thing is, if you're traveling, the cardio is probably a bit harder. But like two days a week, if you're able to actually push yourself and get a big workout, that will definitely make you progress and not lose the progress that you've made. So if a week is super busy for you, you will have those 2 days for sure, non-negotiable. And then less busy week, you can go more times per week, obviously, because you have more time. But yeah, and obviously you need to keep your protein intake high.
Yeah.
Right. So because working out is one thing, but if you don't eat properly, then you might as well not work out. Obviously, it makes you spend energy, so it makes you feel better and stuff. But you need to have the nutrition that comes with it. So definitely high protein diet every day, all the time. And 2 days a week, an hour of doing push-ups, sit-ups, and all the body weight that you can do. And I think that will keep you motivated because like every week you'll be working out.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that would be a really great starting point, honestly. Because it keeps, it might not be the greatest progress in my life, but it mentally keeps you in check. And I think that even those days when I am away will keep me motivated at saying, oh, well, next week I have more time, so I'm going to do those 2 days, and maybe there are 2 days in between somewhere. And I think that kind of sets the ball rolling a little bit more, and then keeps you in the zone regardless of what you're doing. And again, hotels that I stay at usually do have gyms. It's just a matter of sometimes the gym is like, 4 treadmills and like 5 weights, and it's always full. So it's hard to get a kind of something on that. But at the same time, There's just got to be ways around it. You know, you got to find other things that you can do, and just work around it.
It's the amount of body weight exercise that you can do is immense, and you can even I don't know if you know, but those little it's like handles that you can put on the floor. You can buy that. It goes in your backpack, very easy to transport, and you're able to do so many variants of push-ups with those. That targets your pecs.
Yeah.
Right. So that for traveling is probably the best case, and you can do it in your hotel room if you have the chance. So let's do that for the next 6 months. I don't know. It's probably long, but on the Sunday night, you'll have your schedule for the week, or maybe not, but you can every Sunday night you'll plan your week and you'll put your 2 days hour for the following week, and you can't miss it. You can maybe move it, but you can't miss it.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's do it.
Okay. We do that, and then when I talk to you in 6 months, I want to know if that was that makes you lose motivation or not when you have less time to work out. I mean, I think that should make it work.
That sounds like a great starting point. Honestly, I think it's a great idea, and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, and you can go on internet and maybe find yourself a workout program. Probably that will help you out as well too, because then you'll know this hour I'm doing this much push-ups, this much sit-ups, and other things. So that'd be awesome. So that's the plan. Now that's the plan for the next little bit, the next 6 months. So Ivan, I want to ask you this question now. Who's Ivan in 10 years?
Who's Ivan in 10 years?
Yes,
wow,
sir.
That's wow, it sounds a lot like my mother. She always asks me that question. It's a very recurring thing.
Well, answer is going to be easy, I hope.
In a dream world,
yes, sir.
I would love to be working consistently in the film and TV industry as an actor. I'm not talking A-list. I'm not talking, doing scenes with Margot Robbie, even though that is like the actual dream.
Exactly.
But consistently working, being able to book parts, whether it's, guest stars or series regulars, anything that gets me on screen and seen. At the same time, I still really want to be doing content creation and work my way into getting the automotive field and my content creation in one as a channel, build a following as both a photographer and at the same time somebody who is very knowledgeable in the automotive industry. Whether that means doing reviews on vehicles, taking vehicles out for test drives, running road trips with cars, photographing them, any of that sounds fantastic to me. And I think those two are kind of the two big portions of my career that I would love to see grow and flourish together. That's career-wise. Personal stuff on the other side.
That's career-wise. Exactly.
That's career-wise.
Yes.
Personal stuff, I definitely think that in 10 years, I would love to be in kind of like the very best shape that I would love to be. Like I really want to feel very confident with my body where I'm at. I want to build a much healthier relationship with the gym and working out. I want to see it as something that I enjoy to do rather than seeing it as a chore or something that I have to do. And as far as things in my personal life,
relationship-wise,
things are going great, man. They're really, like, aside from doing lots of traveling together with her, and in 10 years, definitely, I would hope that we're married. I think we both know it's heading there, but neither of us is too rushed to get there because we want a big wedding, and neither of us really want to take a loan out to make that happen.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But I wouldn't change much. Just as long as we're together, as long as we're spending time together, traveling the world and doing the things we are doing now. You know what? Neither of us are super into the idea of having kids right now, but I think both of us are open-minded people, and if life changes our mind, we're open to that. I just think that we're both a little bit too young, and I think that neither of us feel like we've done enough with our lives to kind of start committing to taking care of somebody else.
100%.
Probably a dog or two, though. I think
oh, yeah.
Definitely some pets in our future.
You got to start with the dog first. That's what I did, and it's an amazing. And the thing is, it's kind of double-sided thing, because if you get a dog, you'll see like the fact that you're taking care of another being is kind of makes you want to have an actual human as someone that you want to take care of, right?
Yeah.
It's quite it's quite motivating to have kids when you have a dog, and even two is always better. But and I feel like that will also build your progress, make your relationship progress as well. Because you become parents, even if it's not a human, you still become parents of an animal. So yeah, man, a dog would definitely be a good idea, and it makes your life
I think that's the plan, and your reasons are exactly correct in that sense. So start with pets, and then see how we can work our way up from there.
What car do you want to be driving in 10 years?
I would hope that by then I have multiple. I would love to have a variety of cars. My dream car that I want to have is the Nissan 370Z Nismo as my just fun weekend driver. For a daily driver, that's tough. I'm going to be honest with you, that's tough, because there's so many things that I'd love to have, but it's so hard to pinpoint it down to one. But if I had to say right off the top of my head, probably a Porsche 911, maybe a GT3, nothing crazy. You got to work your way up apparently through Porsche to be able to get one of those. So not quite easy.
That's true, but who knows? You're already in the automotive industry, so in 10 years a lot can happen, and I know you're capable.
Maybe something a little bit more basic, but if the time comes and the opportunity is there, absolutely I'm going to pull the plug on something like that.
911 GT3. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think that sounds great. A little bit, maybe not the new ones, the old ones are
I got no problem with used cars. That's not a problem better for me at all. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do stuff to it anyway, so there's no point in buying it brand new.
No, definitely. Yeah, that's true. And you see yourself in Canada as well? Still in Vancouver?
Either that or somewhere in the California region. I did apply for a green card this year because I'm Ukrainian by nationality, so I have the option to do so. However, it's hard to say the results of that. I will keep applying every year that I have the opportunity to, but I don't want to leave Canada fully. If anything, dual citizenship, maybe kind of going back and forth between the two. I love this city. I don't want to leave here permanently.
So you say a green card, is it because I thought because your mom is Ukrainian, you would have the green card already, no?
No, so I have Canadian citizenship.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
So I have Canadian citizenship, but for the United States, you have the option to apply for a green card in order to become a citizen through a nationality program. So because I'm Ukrainian, I have the opportunity to apply to get U.S. status, to be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, because you're.
But again, it's a lottery.
Okay.
It's a lottery, so it's not guaranteed. So that's something that we have to keep doing and seeing every year what happens with that.
Well, Ivan, thank you very much for being with me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on here. I look forward to our follow-up in 6 months.
Thank you for staying until the end. If you liked my conversation with Ivan, please consider subscribing. There is many more episodes coming in the next month, and I don't want you to miss them.